What's up, baby? Oh, you good, man, good. I said, he's right here. I said, you gonna be right here somewhere. I said, where is he at? What's up, baby? Good, man, good. Good, man, yes, sir. I said, hey, listen, lean mean fighting machine.
I know, we need you. Let's go. We need you.
Oh, man. Huh?
If one guy goes down, you're in.
I'm in there. I'm in there just like that. I'm in there. I feel so much better now, man. It's just time off. Time off and just body feeling good. Yeah, man. Yeah. I tell you, when I first came out here, man, the dudes, they had a quiet confidence. It was in a good way. Like, they were real focused, even like Vaughn. I was telling him, like, listen, it's that time. It's time to make some big plays this game.
We just dug a hole for ourselves. We're just slowly digging out.
Yeah.
This is the next step tonight. Tonight if we can get it.
And this is that game that'll put that right where you need to be. Right where you need to be.
Right back in the hunt.
Yeah. How you take care?
You've been around? You've been down to Dallas?
Been in Dallas the majority of the time. I come up here a little bit and then just been traveling, doing a lot of traveling. So when weeks off, I'll be with the kids and then just back and forth doing work. Yeah. Okay, I can't wait to see the boys play, man. I ain't been up here in a little bit. So, yeah. Dog, them first two games, are you kidding me?
What?
The first two games, the last second, I was just like, we could be 4-2 easy. You know what I'm saying? But Vic been doing good. Yeah, and getting the guys right,
Yeah. Feel better about what they're doing.
Exactly. Comfort level. Yeah.
You know, when you got to get some return for all the hard work, right? And when you keep getting beat, then you get beat like the way we got beat, like the last second, the field goal.
And you know you could have won. That's like the deflator a little bit.
The last 2 weeks been really good.
Yeah.
So this is big. Then we got 2 more before the bye, so.
Because who is after this?
We got Indy.
Yep. That's a big one.
That's a big one. Then we got the Browns here, and then we're on a bye.
So if you can get, let's say if you get these 3, I mean now the whole story changed. The whole story's gonna change. That'll be cool.
The whole thing,
Yeah. And stop this little sucker right here. Number 10. Do I need to go out there and get him or what?
Hold on to him.
Sheesh.
DeMarcus Ware here on the Rich Eisen Show once again. How are you, DeMarcus Ware?
Hey, doing great. How you doing?
I am doing fine. We just saw you going up to Elway before the game, and man, that just didn't work out on Thursday night.
You know what? It did, man. It didn't work out, and guys always go into the games like really optimistic, right? I mean, they, talking to Elway on the sideline, that's like that grind, right? It was a Thursday night game. The guys were really excited. I can see how Vaughn came out. They were very, very focused. I was talking about that quiet confidence that they had going into the game. But it was just too many mistakes. And you know what happens when you have, 6 or 7 sacks given up and 3 forced fumbles.
It'll go south pretty darn fast. The issue is, though, DeMarcus, is obviously, do they have the right quarterback? Do they have a plan to have the right quarterback in Denver?
I think they have the right quarterback, but you have to be able to protect them. Think about when Mahomes went down. You got Matt Moore went into the game, and I'm on the sideline, and I can see Derek Wolfe, right? I can see Von Miller licking their chops, but they still didn't get any pressure on those guys in those situations. I know Matt Moore, he's a seasoned vet, and Nomad, been playing for the Dallas Cowboys and the Carolina Panthers and played very well, so he knew what he was getting into with getting the ball off fast, right? So they couldn't get any pressure on him. But from an offensive standpoint, I'm like, okay, you have to protect Flacco. Every single time he dropped back, even if they had a defensive, I'm going to say a tight end or a running back in the game chipping those outside linebacker defensive ends, they still were getting pressure. They were getting sacks every single down. And it was one of those things that I've never seen before in my life. And even like from the guys blitzing in the middle, they were letting some of those guys go. So I'm like, there has to be some type of protection issues that have to be evaluated for these next up-and-coming weeks.
DeMarcus Ware here on the Rich Eisen Show. 12 seasons in the NFL, DeMarcus, and then also you're the greatest player in the history of Troy football, which I learned I knew I had to call you way, way long ago when I used that term for OCU Manura on NFL Total Access years ago. And I heard from you. I heard from you directly. Don't do that again. So I repay in kind here over a decade later.
Yes.
Have you ever seen somebody have their knee rearranged on a quarterback sneak before, as Mahomes did that night? Have you ever seen that?
I have never. But that's the thing. You don't want the quarterback to really, get into the trenches like that. You got those big offensive linemen that are 6'5", 360 pounds, and it takes just a little bit of weight of those guys that really just hunker down on a guy that hurt, Mahomes like that. But the thing is, he's one of those tough quarterbacks. You can see him throwing the ball with his left hand, running the ball a lot. So you think that he's elastic, just like a running back. But they can't take the pounding as a running back would take, and it's a hard thing to see.
What was it like when that happened?
You know what? It was a quiet silence in the stadium because it was, first of all, like a sense of hope. Like, oh, my God, Mahomes went down on a big Thursday night game. We have an opportunity to win. But then you can see, the fans saying, okay, one of the best guys in the NFL just got injured. And when you see him walk off the field, which is so great about the 12th man in any team, they actually applaud it like, okay, I'm glad he's okay. Like, he's going to be able to come back. It's not like maybe a season-ending injury, even though you're an opposing team. So it was a hard thing to see, and, hopes he gets well really soon.
DeMarcus Ware here on the Rich Eisen Show. And then last thing on Denver, Emmanuel Sanders is now a 49er, and Elway essentially said he didn't like some things, we didn't like some things. Did you get any sense of that when you saw him last week?
I didn't. When I was on the sideline talking to him, he was very enthused, and he said, I'm just coming off of a big injury. My body feels great. I think he had 2 or 3 awesome catches across the middle. That's what he do very well. And I thought, I would never think that he was going to get traded because he was one of the more consistent guys catching the ball that week, even though they had that big loss. And all of a sudden, the week after that, he gets traded. So I just feel like now the San Francisco 49ers, they just got better. I think they're one of the still undefeated teams, and they're going to really start steamrolling.
Well, I mean, we had DeForest Buckner on the show yesterday. I mean, that front line may be the best in football. Would you agree with that?
Dude, I have been watching them and just the tenacity that they play with. I mean, just the outside guys being able to push the pocket, the inside guys being able to, put the quarterback in a phone booth so he can't make any passes. That's what you want from any type of defense. But what's really great is that, the outside, not the outside linebacker, but those inside linebackers in the corners. Those guys come up and hit on those screen plays. They are having great coverage so those guys up front can get there, and they're stopping the run. They are controlling the line of scrimmage, and they're playing their best defense because when their coach on the sideline, when they look at that guy, how enthused he is when he makes, just those big gestures, it's just great to see, and it makes those guys want to play for him.
DeMarcus, we're here on the Rich Eisen Show. You know as well as anybody, DeMarcus, that the Broncos and their fans and that organization is not used to consecutive seasons of losing. They're just not used to it. It just doesn't happen. How is Von Miller handling all this when you chatted with him for the grind?
It's hard because, Von, it's like I'm going to do what I need to do as an individual player and try to lead the guys and keep them enthused because I can't see – I don't want the guys to see my morale down at all. I want them to see that I'm enthused to get out here and play, even though our season isn't going like it should, and that's what champions do. I told them you need to put the team on your back, let your motivation sort of propel those guys to do better than what they're doing because you're that leader that they're going to look up to. And talking to him at the Dallas Cowboys game, he came down to the game. It was their bye week, and we sat down and chatted just about how things should go forward and what he should do. And, I mean, he's still excited about the season. He's like, DeMarcus, I need to pick up my pieces because I haven't been getting the pressure like I need to, and we'll really get everything going this week.
Yeah, I mean, he's got to miss Chubb. That was a huge injury.
Oh, man, yeah. Just Chubb. Chubb was like that guy when I came in, that right end, being able to get pressure on the quarterback, but that power guy. So now when you have that power guy coming from the right side, Vaughn can easily use his speed to get around the corner to create those big plays, and now that guy isn't there. So that's missing for him. And now he's getting a lot more chips from tight ends and running backs. But at the end of the day, he has a great defensive coordinator, actually head coach with Vic Fangio, that can move him around, put him in the middle, put him on the right and the left, and so he can still make plays.
And then another person we're going to see you chatting with tonight on the grind is Peyton Manning. You saw him on the sideline before the game. Any sense of what he wants to do with his life and career? Because, there in Denver, we had Mike Kistler of the Denver Post on this week. He would love to see Peyton basically running the team. DeMarcus, what do you think?
I think Peyton is one of those guys that if he can be part of an organization, he would bring in that championship mentality, that noble mentality. That's how he played the game. He was a sheriff, and I was a deputy, and it was just a great opportunity just to play with him. And I think that for his career, he's doing what he do best, and that's be a personalist. And you can see how great he's been doing on his show. But for him to be an owner or like a general manager or to be part of a team, it will be a big turnaround because he will go in and do it the right way.
Well, I don't want to put you in too tough a spot, but do you think Denver needs that right now? Do you think the Broncos need that?
I don't know if the Broncos need that. I just know that they need to protect the quarterback for sure. But to have a guy like, but I know that Peyton coming in and helping out the whole organization, I think that would be a great move.
DeMarcus Ware here on the Rich Eisen Show. Which is the real Cowboys team? The one we saw this weekend, or the one that is going to have struggles up and down over a 3-week stretch and have trouble giving Jerry Jones what he wants? What do you think, DeMarcus?
If they can play like they played this weekend, this is how they played the first 3 games.
Yep.
And if they can be consistent with running the football, right, making those deep passes down the field, and the defense getting those big plays, and the offense not being able to run the ball on them, that's what you want to see. That's that championship team. If they can play that way every single week, they're a championship contender. But it's like, can we get that consistency every single week? Not just because the coach said we're going to go in and win the game and you now vouched and you won that game for your team. Now, what is going to be that fire for these next up-and-coming weeks? They're going to get you to play the same way.
But explain to me how a team can be so Jekyll and Hyde. I mean, how does that happen? Where I understand the first 3 weeks they did play some subpar competition, which is why the next 3 weeks a lot of folks thought that's the real Cowboys team. How does a team miss the opportunity of taking care of business against the Saints with Teddy Bridgewater in his first home start, and then Green Bay without Devontae Adams, and then obviously the Jets, which is the same team we just saw against New England? How does that happen?
You see a lot of teams when the pressure is on them, they can really turn up the heat and get everything going. But the great teams, they keep it going when they play teams that should be underneath them and that they should win, but they play to their level. And sometimes the Dallas Cowboys, they do that. They play to that team's level when all of the talent that's on the team, no matter if Tyron Smith is out or Collins is out, or any of those guys, if they're out, it still don't matter because the second guy that's coming in will be a starter on another team. So the Dallas Cowboys, for me, if they play consistently, like every week, if they're playing the Saints or if they're playing Philly or an NFC East team, the sky's the limit.
Ask the poll question of DeMarcus Ware before we send him on into his day, and we see him tonight on the grind on Epics. What do you got over there, Chris?
Yeah, DeMarcus, who do you think has the best shot at knocking off the Patriots in the AFC? Bills, Chiefs, Colts, Ravens?
I would say the Bills, and that's the weirdest thing because their defense plays to a point to where they make the team one-dimensional because they always make them have to pass the football. They have great run defense from what I've seen. So I would say the Bills. And they're a contender right now, man. They flipped and turned everything around, and they've been playing really well.
Well, I'll bite on this here. They're going to have to I mean, the Patriots, the way that they're playing, the way that they're looking, they get Sanu. We're assuming Gordon's going to come back healthy, and Brady's going to have as much at his disposal as possible. I'm hearing rumors that they might even be still in the market for a much bigger fish in the trade market. How can the Bills stay close enough with New England and maybe even just take them out in division, or win a playoff game on the road and then get there for a divisional playoff game and take care of the Patriots? That's the way that they would actually have to take care of them.
And the thing is, when you think about as you get later on in the season,
Yep.
You got injuries, right? But every single one of those games at the end, it's like the team that wants it the most, but the team that's also going to play the best and don't have as many mistakes. I haven't seen a lot of mistakes from the Bills, and usually they play a man-on-man type mentality. My man's going to beat yours. It's almost like Bill Parcells. It's going to be steak and potatoes type offense, steak and potatoes type defense, but then I'm going to wind you down all the way to the end of the game, and that's how that chess match that Bill Belichick, they play all the time. So that's one of those type teams that can play with the Patriots. That's why I say that, is because you're not going to just go in and score a whole bunch of points on them. They're going to keep the game very close. We're going to run the football, and then who makes the best decisions at the end of the game is going to win, and they can do that.
DeMarcus, I love our chats. I mean, the last time we talked and you told us about Jerry Jones lighting a votive candle and trying to close negotiations with the players who he wants to sign. I mean,
yes.
I love that story. DeMarcus is one of my favorite stories of the year.
Brian, this show has been great. This behind the scenes where you can talk to the general managers, the owners, be in the locker room, and actually getting the guys to talk and open up. It's amazing just what you're just doing with this show and just the whole spiel, and it's great to be part of it.
Well, I mean, NFL Films and Epics, they're the ones behind it. I'm just fronting it. And
but you're part of it. Epics is they are the front runners for sure.
And I hope you're going to do it again, right? You want to keep doing it?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I'm going to do it later on in the season. I look forward to working with you.
Excellent. Right back at you. All right, DeMarcus. Take care. We'll chat soon.
All right, take
That's
care.
DeMarcus Ware, at DeMarcus Ware on Twitter and Instagram.
For more of The Rich Eisen Show, tune to Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV for free on BR Live or download The Rich Eisen Show app.